So I have just finished sitting the SQE1 fly. Anyway, now I say just, it was a couple of days ago now, but I just needed a couple of days just to chill out a little bit and treat myself. So I'm going to share my experience with you, and I'm not going to share this with you. This is actually just going to be mine. Now, before we get into my actual thoughts on the SQE1 and my honest opinion about my own performance, let's just take a look on the day, I guess, of me sitting the SQE1 or whatever you want to call it. I filmed it. Let's take a look and go from there. Where are you going? Hissing at me. Don't you start charging? Okay, so just got into the hotel room. I did accidentally go to the wrong hotel room. But yeah, it looks nice. Hopefully I can get some last minute study done in here. What's that here? Let's have a look. Hello. Oh, bless her. Does look a bit like an army barracks though, doesn't it? I mean, they could have made it look really nice, to be honest. So they've got a pool and a sauna, so I didn't come prepared. So I'm going to go across to Asda and get myself some swimming trunks and then pop into the pool. I went in the pool, pretended I could swim for a bit, tried to relieve some stress and calm down a little bit. And then I lasted 3 minutes in the sauna. Didn't like that. So I came out, got ready, and now I'm just going to go down and eat some food before I start studying. I'm settled in my room now, and it's time to do some sort of study. And as I'm getting closer to the time to do study, and it is now coming at 7:20, I'm not going to lie, I'm really starting to lose motivation. But my plan is to just go over the mock exams that I did with Barbary and just go over the questions that I've got wrong and just try and see if I can now remember them and understand the law a little bit more. And that leads me on to my thoughts for the exam tomorrow. And when I started with Barbary, they said, you know, just stick with Barbary, don't do anything else, and follow the plan because they believe they got a plan that works, and apparently it's tested and it works, and, you know, just trust in the formula. And I have trusted in the formula, and I've done as much of the course as I can, and I've done 3 mock exams, and each mock exam I've passed, and I've averaged, I think, around 75%, between 70 and 75%, which is, I think off the top of my head, between 65 and 70 questions right out to 90, because that's how the mocks are. They're not the whole 5-hour exam. They do 90 questions each time, so it's like half of FLK1 or half of FLK2. Now, I haven't done the FLK2 mock exams because I've got my exam in 5 days for the FLK2, and I feel like that would be good revision then, and that'll refresh my memory and get my mind really focusing on FLK2. So I don't want to be mixing up FLK2 subjects with FLK1 if I don't have to. So I haven't done the FLK2 mocks yet, but the FLK1 mocks I have done. And obviously, you know, hitting 75%, I was over the moon, happy. And then I've started thinking like, what more can I do? And I'm not going to lie, I'm not the person that can just keep reading and absorbing. I don't work like that. I know this sounds really stupid, but I either do mock questions and then kind of look over the ones I've got wrong and try and understand it like that. And I also, probably like everybody else, the wrong questions I get wrong, I put in chat GPT and I, try and get it to explain it simple, give me some examples and stuff like that. So really try and get my head around it. And I also, for me, I work good with, I know it's saying silly again, but like cartoons, I have to visually see it to understand it and learn it. And if I can do that, then it helps me. Just straight out of a book, I'll pick up the general basics of it in a book and get a reasonable understanding. But to really put it into practice, I need to see it happening. So yeah, and I felt good. And then the last couple of days, I downloaded an app, I think it's called Kino or something along them lines. And I started doing the multiple choice questions on there. And my goodness gracious, they were hard. And I don't know if they was particularly hard or if they was just worded in like really strange, weird ways, or, maybe leaving out some information that I'm used to seeing that I feel would be relevant to the question or give me a little bit more understanding, something like that. But from getting like 75%, I was getting like 50%. And that's made me worry a little bit. And yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's knocked my confidence a little bit going into the exam tomorrow. But the exam's tomorrow at 8 a.m. I've got to be there at 7:30 a.m. And I have to admit, I am not an early bird in the slightest. Oh, I do love coffee. And yeah, so I'm going to be getting up at 6 and getting there for around 7:30. Now, obviously we have to be there early, and that's not just for me, that's for everybody. So my test centre is in Bristol and I've opted to stay in Bristol overnight. I'm from Gloucester, so it's not far. It's a 30-minute drive from Gloucester, but I knew my luck would be getting onto the M5 and a crash happens and that's it. I'm stuck on there. So I didn't want to risk anything. So I'm literally a stone throw away from the test centre. So I'm going to get up in the morning, have some breakfast and walk across to the test centre. And I really, really strongly advise that anybody who's doing the SQE, just go to a hotel for a night before. Clear your head, get away from everything and everyone. And I know people have support and stuff like that, but it's really, in my opinion, it's really important just to move yourself away from that and really try and get in the zone. And I would say that was my aim today. And obviously I had a quick swim, which was only 30 minutes, and then some food, and I'm in here now. And I'm going to do a couple of hours, not long. I'm not going to do it long. I don't want to throw my head. I'm just going to go over some questions and talk to ChatGPT, try and explain some things again, refresh certain elements. And when I say elements, for me, it's just like, is it 14 clear days, 14 days, stuff like that. I'm not going to lie, I have done absolutely dreadful on the tax with the maths questions. That's a real weak link for me. I really understand the basic levels of stuff. As soon as anything else comes into it, it really throws me. Especially with like potentially exempt transfers or pets or whatever they're called, stuff like that. It just, I don't know. I'm really hoping there isn't a lot of them in the exam tomorrow, because I would say it's more of a guess more than anything else, to be honest. So I'm not looking forward to that. And that's the question for all of us, isn't it? What is tomorrow about? What is the actual exam? What are we expecting? How difficult is it going to be? Is it going to be as difficult as people make out? Because, like before you get a tattoo, you speak to people. And for me personally, the majority of people, when I got my tattoo before and I spoke to them, they was, oh my gosh, the pain, oh, you don't like needles? I'm like, no. Oh my gosh, what are you doing? And I was like, oh my goodness, what have I got myself into? And I got went obviously to have the tattoo done, and as soon as they started, I thought, okay, my anticipation of how bad it was going to be, you know, was a lot worse than reality. And that's kind of what I'm hoping for tomorrow. I'm hoping that, like, obviously there's going to be some really difficult questions, I think, but I'm hoping it's not going to be as difficult as I'm building it up in my head. You know what I'm really dreading? Like, I've thought about this so many times. I'm really dreading going there and everything goes fine. I sit down. First question, I have no idea. You know, that's the thing I'm dreading the most. The first question, I'm like, shit. Damn, I ain't got a clue. And then I know I'm already 1-0 behind. Unless I guess lucky, which, I don't know, there's like a 20% chance, I guess. So it's not bad. But I'm going to do some study now. Going to try and document as much as I can. I know, obviously, we have to sign non-disclosure agreements tomorrow, so I don't really know how much I'm going to be able to film tomorrow or discuss after, but I will see what I can do. And I'll probably do some little shoots of just what I'm reading and going over now, maybe. I don't know. So, it's coming up to 7:15, and I didn't sleep well at all. And I kind of feel like I've been hit by a bus when I woke up. But I'm ready. I'm going to go down for some breakfast now and make my way over to the test centre. So I've had my breakfast and now I'm walking to the test centre. Just putting my stuff in the car. Yes, nerves are starting to kick in a little bit now. Just like I said, it's that first question. Could you imagine just reading that and you ain't got a clue? And I know that's going to be me, that first question, I know. Anyway, I'm off now, so everything else will be filmed on my phone, even though I've done a mixture anyway for this. Okay, so I've just came back to the hotel now for some food, because I'm starving. Am I starving? I don't know what I am. I don't know. My head's like numb. I've obviously just finished the SQE1, FLK1. Wish I finished the whole thing. And I've just came back now, ordering some food, and obviously I can't talk too much about it because they get you to sign NDAs, but I don't know. I'm gonna eat now, rest, and then I'm probably gonna do a little video or a continuation video like this, on just my thoughts of Barbary as a prep course. So if you're still here, you've watched my day and me getting ready for it, and in that time you was watching, I made myself a cup of tea. Now, my thoughts now about the SQE1. My head is still like pickled from it, if I'm honest with you. It's still not left me. It's kind of like splitting up from a relationship, a toxic one, and your ex is still going at you. That's kind of like how I can explain to you what it's like. It's still there nagging at me in the back of my head. Now, I don't know if that's just me or anyone who sat the SQE1, because I haven't spoke to anybody else, and this is just my experience of it. Now, what I want to say is, if you're thinking about doing a prep course to study for the SQE1, I do recommend Barbary. I think they did a great job, and I think the lecture materials and the study materials was on point, and I also think that the mocks was very, very good, and I think that they will help a lot of people if you do the Barbary mocks. Now, pardon me, I also read that people were saying that the SRA questions were like not helpful at all, like the mock examples that they give. And I don't agree. I think they are a fair example or a fair representation of what to expect in the SQE1. Now, as soon as I came out, and again, if anybody else has experienced this, just please let me know. As soon as I came out, I had probably like 5 to 10 questions that stuck in my mind. And I knew I got them wrong. And I don't know why I chose the answers I did. I just had like a moment of madness and my mind went blank. And I just picked an answer. And even though I was at that very moment in time 50-50, I knew in the back of my head that it was the other one, but something in there was just telling me, no, it's not that one, it's this one. And I wish I didn't listen to myself in the exam. And finishing the exams and coming home and trying to rest, and then all I keep thinking about is obviously the results, and that we've got to wait 6 weeks for these results. Like, what? I mean, is that itch nice, yeah? Is that nice? I mean, if Barbary can give you the results to the mock exam straight away, I'm sure they can. You know, you've either got the answer right or you got it wrong. You know, there's no interpretation of your answer or reading or anything like that. So it's really frustrating that we got to wait 6 weeks. And today is Thursday. Is it Thursday? Let me double check. Yeah, Thursday. And I sat the exam. What is the day? Is it Thursday? Yeah, it's Thursday. And I sat the exam. I couldn't sat it yesterday. Wow. There you go. I sat the exam yesterday. Okay, the FLK2. That's insane. Okay, I feel like it's been like 4 days already. That's how much my mind's been thinking about it. I feel like I'm 4 days into waiting for the 6 weeks and it's 1 day. What the heck? And I've got comfort eat. Unbelievable. Shut up. Have a bit of chocolate. Should I? Now, I know I've obviously signed stuff to say I can't say this, I can't say that, but for me personally, and this just isn't even with just the exam, this is the stuff that the exam tests on. I struggled more with the FLK2, which is surprising because people would be like, you work in crime, and it's not the crime that I struggled with, but it's the trusts and that sort of stuff, the trusts and the wills. I don't like it. I'm not overly interested in it, and there's a lot of like little rules here and there that you can slip up on, and yeah, so I'm less confident with the FLK2, and I just feel like now that I was going to say as the days goes on, but as it's only been 1 day, it's more like minutes. As the minutes go on, I really question myself, and I'm just hoping that I've got enough right rather than too many wrong, if that makes sense. But, like I was going to say, if you're going to study for the SQE1, I personally wouldn't self-study. I know people do, but I mean, for the stress and then the wait, and if you fail, you got to sit it again, and it's another wait, I would do some sort of prep course. And I can't recommend Barbary enough. I thought they was really good. A little bit expensive, but really good. And I tell people often, I've learnt more in my prep course than my whole degree. Like, that's true. And I don't know if that's partly to blame for me or the actual degree itself, but I find the prep course so much more educational. And yeah, it's really worked for me. But that's it. I'm wrapping it up now. That's my thoughts. Like I said, I can't go into it too much, but do a prep course. Stick with the prep course. Barbary said, just trust us. Don't do anything else. Just stick with the prep course. And I did. And I think that probably gave me the best chance. I did mention earlier that I downloaded that like app. And I downloaded it like 2 nights before the FLK1. And my gosh, that made me shit myself. Because I started getting like 50% instead of like 70% in the mocks. And I was just like, oh my gosh, which one is it going to be like? And I'm so glad I went with Barbary. Yeah. So if you're out there and you're thinking about doing a prep course, go with Barbary. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and stick around for the results. That's going to come in 6 weeks' time. Cheers. Caveat, I'm not sponsored by Barbary. I did reach out to them and say, look, do you want to do a collab? And they pretty much said no. So there you go. But, you know, I'm not holding anything against them. Bumholes. But they are good. And I find it really useful. So if you're doing the SQE1, I can't speak for all the other sources, but Barbary was good.